Blessings, everyone. Welcome. So, I've been receiving a lot of comments, a lot of questions with regards to this topic, and I think it is very important to address this. There will be a light language transmission towards the end to help integrate these informations, to help stabilize the codes, and to kind of smooth out the activations that you have received, whether it's from my transmissions or whether it's transmissions from others or places that you have gone to, sacred sites that sort of activated something within you. So be sure to stay till the end to receive this transmission. But I want to first address this and answer some of the questions that you might have in your mind as well. So there are some questions coming in with regards to whether it is normal for one to experience physical discomfort and wild dreams, nightmares even, in their sleep after they have received my light language transmissions on YouTube. And some people even went about to conclude themselves that my transmissions are not of the light and they're dark, therefore it is causing these discomforts. And I think this is very important to address because a lot of people in the spiritual community in the beginning stages of their awakening have a preconceived notion and understanding or even expectation that this journey is all about the light. However, that is not true. And a lot of the times when we are awakening to who we truly are, there is the opposite that is happening, whereby we need to release aspects of ourselves that are not aligned with this truth. And what does this mean? This means that it is uncomfortable because we're releasing the comfort, we're releasing the identities that we have believed that we are. We are releasing relationships, we are releasing belief systems. And it's like going on a plant medicine journey. If you have went on an ayahuasca journey before, purging is a very natural part of the process. Yes, there are situations where people actually don't purge at all, and that is completely fine. But majority of the people actually go through some level of purging. It doesn't have to be vomiting. It could be purge as in a release of emotions like crying. It could be releasing heat from the body. And there are many ways that the body can release energy. But if you have gone through such a potent journey before, you will understand that these journeys are actually not for the faint-hearted, because a lot of the times when you go into a ceremony like that, the plant spirit actually brings up things that you do not want to see, things that you have been escaping. Maybe it's past life trauma, maybe it's things from this life, maybe it's unprocessed emotions. All these things come up to the surface so that you can process it and move forward. There is no way that you can step into the true you, without seeing and processing all these things from your past. They are part of your journey, and all these things have a lesson in them. And if we haven't fully seen that, if we haven't fully integrated that experience, then it is going to come up somehow or other. And a lot of the times it happens whether it's through a purification ceremony that you do, whether it's a fire ceremony, whether it is an ayahuasca ceremony, or a light language transmission that you receive. All these things are actually energy working through you to bring up things that are in your blind spot, or things that you have been escaping. And maybe you might not even be consciously escaping it, but subconsciously you are. So the nightmares that you're receiving, the crazy dreams that you're receiving that maybe makes completely no sense at all, but you wake up feeling really tired, and you wake up feeling fear or maybe sadness even. These things are your subconscious actually processing all these emotions when your conscious mind is asleep. We do a lot of processing. Our subconscious mind is actually working a lot when we're sleeping. So instead of directly just concluding that, oh, if I'm uncomfortable, if I'm feeling a headache, if I can't stand this and any of these nightmares are coming up and I'm scared, then that means that whatever that I've done is not of the light, and that it is dark. Dark beings are trying to like get to me and stuff like that. Like, instead of seeing it in such a limited way, of course these things, yes, do exist, right? But take some time to, yes, you can pause, right? You can say, okay, I don't want to interact with these content. I don't want to interact with these people for the time being, and really come back to yourself. Come back to yourself and ask the questions. Why am I feeling like this? Is this trying to tell me something more? Why am I having nightmares? What are these dreams actually trying to tell me? And try to come back to yourself to decode this for yourself. And perhaps you might realize certain patterns that are constantly recurring, that you are in, that you don't even know, and that these dreams or these discomforts are actually coming up to the surface to show you that. So I'm actually doing an 11-day purification practice. It's a breath work, and my yoga teacher actually shared this beautiful analogy. And the whole point of yoga, breath work, and meditation together is to burn away the karmic bondages, is to bring them up to the surface, is to allow us the opportunity to realize them in our practice and work on them, instead of waiting for a big life event like maybe an accident or, betrayal or separation, stuff like that, to show us what it is that we need to move through and integrate and work through. So the analogy that he gave is like a river, right? On the surface, it might look very clean, but deep, inside of the river, there are spare tires, gunk, and just rubbish beneath. But on the surface level, because the water is flowing, everything just kind of heavy just kind of sinks to the bottom, and on the surface it's like clean water flowing, beautiful. But if you put a dam to it, like you put something to stop the flow of the water, all the gunk is going to hit the wall and it's going to come up to the surface. And this wall, this dam, is actually the process that is happening right now, is actually the process of breath retention. When you're working on holding your breath, specific ratios of the breath is actually to stop the flow and to allow all these things to come to the surface, so that you see it, you feel it. Yes, it's freaking intense, but you observe it and you take that as signposts, as clues to work on what it is that life is showing you, what it is that you need to be aware of. Maybe it's codependency, stuff like that, so that you can work through it, like actually intentionally work through it. So with light language activations, it's actually a very potent energy transmission. So it depends on what you're moving through. It depends on, the level that you're at. It depends on your life phase right now? Like, where are you in life and what are you experiencing? These transmissions actually work on such a multi-dimensional level that it doesn't work with the mind. It actually works with your subconscious. It actually works beyond that. It works beyond that. And of course, these dense stuff is going to come up. Of course, these junk that is still in your body is going to come up, and that is part of the purging process. So don't be afraid of this process. Like I said, use your own discernment. If you need to take a step back, if you need to take a break, that is fine. If you need to take time away to discern for yourself, that is completely fine as well. But there is a very fine line between discerning for yourself and escaping it. So there's this Chinese saying that speaks exactly to this. It's really wise, and it translates to this: the medicine is bitter, but it heals your illness. So it's good for you when you're sick, but it's bitter. So does this mean that if your taste bud actually rejects the medicine because it sucks, it tastes really bad, that you don't take it? But it's good for you because it's going to help you recover. So it's the same thing. A lot of the times, the things that are best for us might actually be uncomfortable. Your teacher that is really hard on you might actually turn out to be the teacher that you will thank for the rest of your life. The teacher that's really soft on you, yes, might feel comfortable, but you might not actually learn as much as the one that you really don't like. A lot of the times when people trigger you, and I talked about this in a previous video, when people trigger you, they are actually showing a part of you. They are reflecting a part of you in that trigger point. So it is actually your responsibility, not theirs. It is your responsibility to figure out and understand why you're feeling triggered. And I've said this in that previous video where I have friends that feel triggered by me, by my growth, by my light, and they needed to take years away from me. And recently this friend actually came back to me and she told me that she had to work through some of her stuff and that she's still super grateful for me, and our relationship has been stronger than ever before. It has been strong since the beginning. So I knew that that step away had to happen so that she had the time and the space and the capacity to process all of these things herself, and she will come out of it. So really the main message that I want to put out there is that yes, these light language transmissions are very, very powerful in a sense where they can bring up a lot of stuff inside of you, the shadows in you, the darkness in you. And really, darkness and light coexist. The backdrop needs to be dark in order for the light to be able to shine. When our souls choose to learn a specific lesson, for example, it's the lesson of unconditional love, we often choose experiences that show us the opposite. We often choose experiences where we judge or we get judged by others, betray others, or others betray us. And that these polarities actually help us learn what it is that we came here to learn. And in this case, it's unconditional love, to not judge. And even if we are, experience betrayal from someone else, we learn how to forgive and we learn how to love unconditionally. That's the best way to learn unconditional love. So all these things that are actually coming up to the surface is showing you the light. It is actually guiding you to the light, not the other way. And in fact, we need to thank our shadow. We need to thank our darkness for showing us and bringing us home to our light. So that is the main message that I want to put out there, is that don't freak out when you experience these intensities of experiences. The intensity of the experiences is actually a good sign that things are moving, energy is flowing, clearing is happening, and that you are actually being activated in a sense. And this is very important because now there is so much free content out there. Who do you believe in? How do you use your discernment? That line gets very blurry. And I think this is all happening for a reason, because we literally came here to learn how to take our power back and how to discern for ourselves. Therefore, there is so much, things that people are saying, and like it feels like you're being pulled in all sorts of direction. At the end of the day, come back to yourself. Come back to yourself and discern. You always, have the choice to continue to interact with certain people or certain content or not. So if it doesn't feel good for you, cool, you can stop. But again, have that deeper reflection going on and introspection than just taking things from the superficial level. Honestly, there was a part of me that's like, I'm not sure if, I want to continue to share these transmissions, because some of them are so powerful that it actually triggers people, like it brings discomfort, and that's the last thing I want to do. A lot of the times people want things that makes them feel good, but does that actually help them? Does that actually support them? It's like saying, I want to have Coke because Coke sugar makes me feel good. I don't want to eat my vegetables because it tastes bad. Knowing that too much sugar is actually bad for you, and this medicine is actually good for you, pulls me back to why I started this in the first place, which is to guide people home to themselves. People chase for things that makes them feel good, not knowing that these things might actually not be for their greatest and highest good. I'm not saying don't do the things that make you feel good, but rather having that awareness that things that don't make you feel good, things that don't taste good, might actually be the thing that awakens you, might actually be the thing that you need in that moment. So with that being said, let's take a couple of deep breaths and just allowing this information to integrate, stabilize in your field. Hukua e rai shetena na shuku umuai setena shatakara e setana shatakara e setara. Calibrating into your vessel, into your light body. Kekera e senukua e shetena e setakara e shutumomoaisa. Calling in the Andromedans, the highest and purest frequency of the Andromedans, to assist in breaking down the energy that just came through, breaking down all the energies that you have received through different channels that you have watched, different places that you have gone to, breaking them down into smaller portions such that your light body can digest it more easily. Era ese tutumu kua eshetena esetena esete kua eshetera eshete te 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 kukuma eshete te te kukuma eshete kukuma eshete. Kira re re shutukukuma esetena eshete ka sataka shutukumushu. U kukumai shi rai 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 shasata. Rai 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 shasata. Rai 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 ukua ishite na ishite ka shushu. Kua ishita ishita ishushu moto kukua ishite na kukuma ishite kera ishite kera ishite kera. Eru kukuma ishite keke. Turururururu shata karai shirarara masata karash. Shata kamasha sata kamasha sata kamasha. Stabilizing this entirely, completely, in its highest integrity, purity, crystalline structure in your light body. Kai shite no kuai mai te 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 shuto kuai mai te 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 kuai mai shite te te te. Sealing this work with love and light, sealing this work with love and light, sealing this work wholly and completely with love and light. Last thing I'm being called to share is that for those of you who have received a lot of messages from my transmissions online and you are confused and at loss as to how to use this information, how to take that step forward, then just like to let you know that I have a mentorship option available to work one-on-one. So if that ever resonates with you, send me an email and we can explore that together. At the end of the day, it's all about guiding you back to yourself, trusting the messages that you receive, not being dependent on someone else to receive this message for you, to tell you what to do. Simply a guide. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but rather here to light up the path for you to take home to yourself. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.